Saturday morning, it is the Independence Day weekend, and it's time for us to talk technology as we kick off the Experts program. Luis Alvarez, CEO of the Alvarez Technology Group, with us right now. Hi, Luis.
Hi, Mark. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Looking forward to the weekend. Always one of my favorite weekends of the year. Okay, here's our story for today. The FBI says people are using deep fakes to apply to remote jobs. Now, what are we talking about here? Deep fakes and remote jobs.
Yeah, so we talked about deep fakes a few times in the past, but as a reminder, what it is, it's when, technology has gotten so sophisticated now that you can actually create essentially fake people and have them speak and respond and act like normal. And you're looking at a screen, and there's a lot of, if you go online and search for deep fakes, you'll see a ton of them that have been made out there that are so realistic that you tell yourself, this has to be a real person. This cannot be, something that was artificially created. But what was originally just kind of an interesting oddity has now become a tool being used by foreign countries to try to infiltrate companies in the United States. And they're doing it by creating these deep fakes of people and then stealing credentials and information, what we call PII, personally identifiable information of real people, and then using that to apply for jobs that are remote jobs. There's a lot of jobs, especially in technology, that are remote only. So you never really even go to the building that might be headquartered, if they even have a building. Many of these companies exist on the internet, and that's it. So the bad guys will apply for these jobs and using real information that can be tracked. So it's, real social security numbers, all that stuff. And then when they go do that interview, that remote face-to-face interview over Zoom or whatever, WebEx or whatever, they use these deep fakes to hide who they really are and come across as somebody that they aren't. And they're using the images of the real people. So they go online, they find Mark Carbonaro's picture. They already have all of Mark Carbonaro's information. So it's hard to not prove that it's you. And then they make your face talk and respond like a normal person while they're manipulating it with technology behind the scenes. And the idea is to get these jobs, these technology jobs, so that they can infiltrate these companies and steal information or use those companies to get further into other government agencies. So, they might get a job at Lockheed and then use that information to gain access to classified information that the government has given Lockheed. So the FBI has warned that this is a real thing and that they've seen instances of it being used. They're not sure how many people, if any, have been hired using this kind of deepfake technology, but they're just warning businesses to be careful, especially if they are only interviewing via remote systems.
Yeah. So how do companies stop this?
Well, they have to I think we're going to have to get a little bit more thorough in our analysis of who we are hiring, especially if you are only doing remote interviews, as many companies are, and require maybe multiple interviews, maybe some other type of proof of who you are beyond just an application plus the interview, which a lot of businesses, that's all they really do. You may have to start running background checks on candidates before you hire them rather than afterwards, just so that you can make sure they are who they say they are.
I notice here that it says the FBI was among several federal agencies to warn companies of individuals working for the North Korean government applying to remote positions in IT or other tech jobs back in May. Now, is this a problem? Do we know that these deep fakes are trying to get jobs within our government, like in NSA and places like that?
Well, I got a similar warning through the Department of Homeland Security because we are a government contractor and we have access to some of that information as well. And they offered the same warning. And particularly, they were saying that government contractors are being targeted very heavily by these fake employees because they recognize that these contractors have access sometimes to confidential information or classified information. And if they can get into one of these companies and get access to their computer systems, then they can get the keys to the kingdom.
Wow, what a scam. Hey, speaking of scams, I just got an email yesterday from somebody named Wioche, W-I-O-C-E, last name Chushg, C-H-U-S-G-H. Looks like a misprint. And then the title of the email is Plan, JMS 8965, Statement Bill Plan, McAfee LLC. Dear user, your application for automatic renewal of your McAfee security is completed and the amount is debited. And it says auto-charged. It doesn't give me any indication of what they use to debit it, but it says if you'd like to change this subscription, kindly get in touch with our team, and then they give you a telephone number to call. Yep. And of course, what they're going to do is have you give them your your credit card number that you used on
exactly.
it, right? They'll say,
Yep.
oh, I think you used your Visa, and then you give them your number, and then you're sunk.
Yeah, and then they'll say, well, just to make sure, can you read me the the 3-digit or 4-digit PIN that is on the back of the front of the card? And then they have all the information they need to use that credit card in the short term to scam you and leave you with a big old bill at the end of the month.
All right, so I report it as scam or spam and delete it.
So. Yeah, exactly. And trust me, there are millions of those that go out every day, and probably, unfortunately, a few of those folks, especially if they're very trusting and they're like, well, I didn't order any McAfee thing. I don't want this appearing on my credit card.
Right.
They'll immediately pick up the phone and call, and before you know it, they've been taken advantage of.
Yep. Well, that's Luis Alvarez, CEO of the Alvarez Technology Group, joining us today online. It's alvareztg.com, @AlvarezTG. That is the Twitter handle. And Luis, the toll-free number for the I-Team.
Give us a call at 866-78-I-TEAM. That's 866-784-8326.
And Luis, looking ahead to Monday, what are we talking about?
Monday, we're going to be talking about Amazon Prime Days, which is coming up in a couple of weeks.
All right. So be sure to join us starting at 8:30 on Independence Day to learn about the upcoming Amazon Prime Day. Thanks, Luis.
You're welcome, Mark. Take care.